I give you the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Well, this was such a unique and emotional opportunity from here to have the leader of the free world come to Richard Montgomery High School and talk about unifying our country in a way that is so necessary right now. I was so proud to be here from Montgomery County, to live in a community that reflects the diversity that we are trying to emulate across this country. It was a special day in the history of our county and of our state.
President Biden has done an incredible amount for residents of Maryland, but also the country. From environmental legislation.
We also had to take on the climate deniers. And guess what? We beat them. We beat them.
To student college debt relief.
Thanks to our historic deficit reduction, we can afford to cancel $10,000 in student debt and $20,000 if you're on a Pell Grant.
We've gotten a lot done, but there's more to do.
Just have to remember who we are. We are the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. So let's get it done. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
And it's just really great for Montgomery County. It's great for the educators, the unions, the community members here to show them that we're part of that agenda for the country. And so I'm really happy to be here tonight.
A joint effort between the Montgomery County Council and County Executive Mark Elrich will provide funding to help protect women's reproductive rights locally.
When the Supreme Court threatens to return the United States to medieval times by overturning Roe v. Wade.
Back in May of this year, Montgomery County Councilmember Nancy Navarro hosted a press conference to announce the introduction of a resolution supporting the preservation of abortion rights under Roe v. Wade. The resolution came following the leaked draft U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The landmark 1973 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that protects a pregnant person's unequivocal right under the U.S. Constitution to choose to have an abortion.
That provide reproductive health services have the appropriate funding and capacity to safeguard reproductive rights in our communities.
Now the initiative reached the next step.
We're very pleased that all of you are here today.
On Thursday, County Executive Mark Elrich announced that the county will provide $1 million through the Abortion Access Grant Program to community-based organizations providing direct services that support the right to access abortion care.
A woman's right to choose, we thought was a fundamental right that was enshrined in Roe v. Wade. And the Supreme Court undid that.
We are not going to stand for that. In Montgomery County, we are going to fight back against it in the state of Maryland, and at a moment of darkness and of tragedy, we are going to be a light for the country, a light for the rest of the state, and we are going to show by the power of our example that we don't take backward steps when it comes to rights. We take forward steps. We add rights for people. We don't take rights away.
The grants will be administered by the county's Department of Health and Human Services and the Office of Grants Management. It will provide $50,000 to a maximum of $500,000 for up to 1 year. Officials say the deadline for eligible organizations to apply is October 10th at 9 a.m.
A decision over your body is yours, and healthcare decisions are between doctors and patients, not between politicians and residents.
I am here today to tell you that desperate women make desperate choices. In 1966, 7 years before the Roe v. Wade decision, I had an illegal abortion. We drove for almost an hour to a farmhouse somewhere in Baltimore County, where a masked man, I presumed to be a doctor, performed my abortion without anesthesia. After the procedure, I was returned to the movie theater on Utah Street, and I made my way home.
Abortion continues to be legal here in Maryland and in Montgomery County, and we will stand up for the right of women and pregnant people to access this critical health care.
To learn more, visit mcmdgrants.fluidreview.com. Reporting in Rockville, Jordan Lindsay.
We're here for a safety walk of Old Georgetown Road.
but we're here because we know that this is a deadly roadway. Good morning, I'm Andrew Friedson, the council member for District 1 here in Montgomery County with State Highway Administration and dozens of community members for a safety walk of Old Georgetown Road.
I'm sorry to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out today.
Carlos Alvarenga, the father of Enzo, who was lost on our roadway here, on Old Georgetown Road, and whose life was tragically and avoidably taken because of preventable conditions on this stretch of Old Georgetown Road. We're here because there are others like him, like Jake Castle right up the road, who was tragically killed on our roadway, because we know we can prevent the next tragedy from happening, and we don't want to be here. Well, there is a roadmap that the State Highway Administration has come out with that highlights a number of safety changes that can be made at intersections, creating a delay for pedestrians to be able to safely cross. We have this stretch of roadway where Jake Castle was killed just a few years ago. We had a painted bike lane installed, but we knew we wanted a protected bike lane. Now that stretch of roadway is protected with pylons to separate bicyclists and cyclists from the cars that are going incredibly fast. But it only stretches about 6/10 of a mile.
When Jake died, they created a bike lane. That bike lane is 0.6 miles long. It is 1/10 the distance of Old Georgetown Road. When Enzo was killed, somebody added some pillars. 0.6 miles of pillars. 2 boys, 2 deaths, 2 families destroyed for 0.6 miles of protection. That's what that bought us.
Just so you know that we have been advocating for the entire corridor. We're going to continue to advocate for the entire corridor. We need to stretch the entire corridor of this roadway because someone who rides their bike isn't riding their bike for 0.6 miles. We got to bring the speed of cars down in order to make sure that when there is an error, when there is a collision, when somebody does make a mistake, that mistake doesn't end in a death.
The second thing I'll say is this. You didn't know Enzo, but I wish you had. He was a kind and sweet young man. He was an artist. He was a poet. He was a musician. In fact, the shoes I'm wearing are the same shoes he was wearing that day, but we never saw again. So I walk literally in his shoes, and you walk with me. And for that, our family thanks you.
This is Ethiopian Day, so they're celebrating.
So Ethiopian Day is just always celebrated on the eve of Ethiopian New Year, and as you know, we have a different calendar from the world. So this day is one of the very important days for us to showcase. We are just, the number of Ethiopians are increasing from time to time, so that every year we see that how the crowd is coming out to celebrate the Ethiopian Day. So that Ethiopian Day is not only to showcase who we are for others, but to know each other, to support each other.
So this is a non-profit organization that is set to help the Ethiopian kids in Ethiopia. So we're helping the deaf community there to give them access to education, access to life skills.
Okay, this is a non-profit organization called Macedonia, which is back home in Ethiopia, helping homeless and mentally challenged. They have like about 7,500 right now.
We are like selling stuff for the Ethiopian children because sometimes they don't have like, poor kids don't have like schools and they don't have enough books to read and stuff.
There are a lot of businesses out there, so that these small businesses are out, just came out in mass, so that they are selling their products. We are buying, we are supporting, and even the businesses are supporting the community center. So it's all about being together and, to show who we are for those who are not knowing us very well.
Like our kids who's born here, this is a day for them to see the culture.
I came to celebrate my culture. And I like my culture, I love my culture, and it's nice to see how connected we are. I just want to say, I'm proud of being Ethiopian.
It was a really good event, and I'm really thankful for you guys to be here.
These are people who are highly invested in their kids. They provide everything that their kids are need, say it's education. There is a stage, there is a space, there is an opportunity for little kids, younger ones, the teens, to perform and to show how they are intimate to their culture. This is how they can, inspire each other.
Tonight is an opportunity for us to remember and recognize the people whose lives we have lost too soon to overdose and addiction, but also to reaffirm that we as a community support and do all that we can for the families whose lives and whose loved ones' lives were just cut too short. And this is a community challenge and needs a community response. And that's why we're here tonight, to educate, to eliminate the stigma, and to reaffirm our commitment to ensuring this tragedy doesn't bestow another family.
Kiana Elise, age 31.
We lost her at 31 years old, unfortunately from an overdose. And she had trained to be a nurse. She just couldn't recover from her addiction. And this is her daughter, Ava.
Hi.
Her beautiful daughter.
She was my mother.
Robbie was 30 years old when he died in 2019. High school athlete, very popular, got addicted to opioids after injuries in football in high school. Fought it for 12 years. Did the best he could. Loving child.
It's overwhelming. It's sad. It's hurtful. It's heart-wrenching. It's its own pandemic before the pandemic that we know.
He was poisoned by fentanyl January 15th of this year, 2022. We miss him every day, and he made the mistake that killed him to buy what he thought was Xanax off the street because he couldn't get a prescription for it.
Stay on top of their mental and physical health as much as you can. Make sure that they have support through the mental health and medical field, and just hope for the best.
Through our Department of Health and Human Services, we are offering both direct programs and services, but we are also working with program providers and different community-based organizations. But we collectively as a government need to make sure that we are sending home the message that we have to eliminate the stigma and that every life is precious, and we must make sure we support those that are in crisis and eliminate that stigma.
Seth struggled with ADHD, anxiety, and started with pot, and then just developed to Xanax, and struggled with addiction for about 2 years. I think that this is a great event. It raises awareness. I think they should do this in every county in Maryland.
Jake had an infectious laugh, and Jake loved music, he was 21.
It's good that he's here with us. I feel him today,
But, yeah, I miss his laugh and his hugs. And I'll feel him in my dreams sometimes. Very rarely, but when I ask to see him, he comes up and gives me a hug. And wakes me up and makes sure that I get up on time for work. He really does.
I think it's a wonderful way to remember our loved ones and to address the seriousness, the gravity of this situation, and bring attention to it in a warm and embracing way.
Maria's last